Welcome back, everyone, to another Coach Blaker's podcast. It's Coach Blaker, the Black Faker, and today we're going to be talking about Soraka mid. Yes, it's been popping up. Why is Soraka mid popping up? Who's doing it? Why? We have Jan on top, and now we have Soraka mid. One thing you want to keep in mind that these picks have been picks before, and it's not really something new. It just came back into the meta. So, why is it coming back into the meta? We'll talk about that. But first, we got to lead off with a quote, and the quote is, "To learn something new, you need to try new things and not be afraid to be wrong." Roy T. Bennett said that. I'll say it one more time. To learn something new, you need to try new things and not be afraid to be wrong. And what does that mean? That means you got to go to coachbucket.com and book a session. That way you can improve and reach your goals as fast as possible, because I know some of y'all have been playing 1,000 games and y'all ain't go nowhere. I'm just saying, let's get back to the topic. Okay, coachbucket.com. So with that in mind, trying something new, and it's okay to be wrong. Why I picked this one in particular is because I feel like when these little meta things pop up, once again, people just assume that it is really, really good. Now, when you are playing support champions mid or top, it's not necessarily a bad pick or a troll pick. The thing is, you're basically just playing another support, right? There's Karma, like that could be played mid or top. There's Lux. Lux is not really a support; she's more of a mage, but she's played a support, so I'm gonna lump her in that category. There's these champions that just really can kind of like thrive without much gold, and if they're in another lane and they can wave clear properly, like Lulu and things like that, it makes them a little bit more viable to be played in mid and top. It'd be really weird to see someone play like Bard mid, right, or Bard top, because it doesn't really do much, right? But the fact that you're playing champions that can shield, champions that can like CC super hard, champions that can buff other champions, like that's what makes these type of picks good. So when we're looking at like Soraka mid, you can build Ardent Sensor. You have really good R's we have really good ultimates. Your heals, right? You have your slows, you have your silence. A lot of things are more potent because you're building AP. If you are building AP, you don't have to build AP and you're still relevant. She actually does a lot of base damage. It's actually pretty insane. So, that is something that's like happening. Now, one thing I've noticed is that a lot of people that are playing these champions mid are usually players that are either not a mid player, so they're like a support main, but they don't really know how to play mid, so they play a support mid, and that's fine. If you don't know how to play a champion in a role, don't do that. If you could play your main champ in that role, it's perfectly fine. It might cost you a win, but at least you're not playing something you don't know and maybe feeding. I would still say try something new, as what we talked about that quote, and just try a champion that you may like. Something that's very easy. If you're autofield mid, play Annie or Vex. If you're autofield top, play Garen. Play Malphite. If you're autofield ADC, play Ashe. If you're autofield support, play like Alistair. Things that are just really, really easy. Hook champs. I would steer clear from Pyke, obviously. And if you're playing jungle, play Nunu. Play I can't think of any more junglers other than Nunu. You can play Ivern. Ivern's pretty easy. He's hard to carry with, but if you just want to be decent, jungling with Ivern is very, very easy because you can come back to your camps and get them. There's not really much pressure on clearing your camps because you can just go one tap them real quick after they come back up. So why do I think that you probably shouldn't try Soraka mid? Once again, we're back into that realm of, let me put it this way. The other reason why I see Soraka mids is because those are the players that actually can play mid, but they want to play something else. Like they want to play that Soraka. And when you're playing these supports, you have to realize that these champs aren't necessarily broken in a sense like you'll carry with them. The thing is, the champs are good because they're good at making other things broken. You know what I'm saying? If you have an enchanter support already, or you have a support that's already doing the support things, and you have another support on top of that, it can make the game painful. Why? Because that's two supports on one carry, basically. And so you're pretty much forfeiting your game saying that I expect everyone else to carry and I will be the buffer. I'll be the one that will help keep people alive. I'll be the one that makes sure that they have their buffs. I'll be the one to make sure that they're okay. And when you do that, obviously you don't have as much control over the game as you would if you would have played a regular mid laner or a regular top laner, in this case too with Janna. You don't have that power to really be able to carry it and win your games. So you really want to think about that before you try a lot of these flavor of the month picks. I've seen a couple of Soraka mids, and they do pretty much what I just said. They either get carried or they get killed because they're useless pretty much. You have to really know what you're doing to play it. And as I said before, if you're not used to playing mid lane and you want to play like Soraka or stuff like that, Lulu, because you're just not a mid laner, that's fine because you're still playing your comfort role. But taking someone who doesn't play support and putting them playing mid and then picking a champ that is a support champ, it's a whole new gameplay. It's a whole new mindset. It's a whole new style. And you have to be careful with that, because if you really are trying to win, if you really are trying to climb, you don't want to hinder yourself by doing what's the flavor of the month. You don't want to hinder yourself by doing, what's strong right now. That isn't going to be how you climb. You have to be consistent. You have to make sure that you're doing what you've always been doing, because randomly swapping to something that might be working for like a patch or two is going to kind of bite you in the butt. If it works and you start climbing, you're going to start demoting because it's going to be nerfed, or you're going to just not win in period because, like you maybe just decided to, I don't know, you're like, oh, I'm fed up, I'm losing my games, whatever. Let me just try some Soraka mid, or let me try some Janna top. And you do that, and you end up in a really, really bad situation. So, when you really get into that thought process of wanting to try something like that, I would urge you to go to flex or go to normals and play it like that. If you have a duo, it's a different story, but you have to trust your duo to be able to literally carry you doing that. And a lot of times that I see with duos too is that the other duo necessarily doesn't really like when people do that. So for me personally, I've duoed with plenty of people. I'm not really a huge duoer, but I have duoed with people before, and you know who you are. Some of y'all know who y'all are. There'll be champs that they're wanting to play, and I'm like, just play this, just play your normal, right? And that's because I'm a competitive player. But if we go to kind of take a look at League of Legends as a whole, we'll just say the NA server. When people duo, they're not really duoing because they want to improve together more often than not. They're either doing because we're friends, we're doing because we want to talk, and we just don't have anything better to do. But we're not really duoing to get better. There are players that do get duo coaching. CoachBooker.com, I'm just saying. I do have a section for duos, and I have coached duos in that aspect. But when I first meet them and we first go over things, it's clear once again they are doing with just the mindset of, well, let's just duo as friends. Once they get on that track of actually duoing to improve, they start climbing, they start winning, and it makes a lot more sense to how they're playing. So if you do want to climb with a duo, you have to make sure that that duo is in the same mindset that you're in. If you really want to climb, then you got to make sure you have a duo that's in that mindset of wanting to climb like that. And so if I were to have a duo that wanted to play Soraka mid, and I knew they could play a mid laner, and they weren't filled mid, I would expect them to play that mid laner, right? It's not about, I just want to have fun. I want my friends to play what they want to play, because that's not how you climb. That's not how you get better. You have to really be stern with your friends, and you have to let them know, like, hey, dude, you're messing up my rank by wanting to just pick whatever you want to pick, and that's not okay. I've seen duos with 10% win rates out of 15 games. It's a little bit ridiculous, but they're friends, right? And it's not okay. Not only is it ruining your rank and your MMR and you're losing LP, but it's also ruining theirs. It's giving them the sense of it being okay to do things like that. And it's absolutely not if you want to improve and you want to climb. So you really want to make sure that before you try any of these things, flavor of the month things, you're doing it in normals, you're doing it in flex, and you really have to understand why you're doing it. Don't just do it. You have to understand why. If you're playing Soraka mid or Janna top, you know that you're forfeiting the game to help your team. If you're a player that doesn't like to be a team player and you think your team suck, don't do it, because you're going to be in a situation where you really think your team sucks and you're just going to lose your games anyway. They're pretty much just supports, right? So I hope this talk was kind of nice. Just want to talk about the Soraka mid thing. If you guys ever have any topics that you want me to visit, maybe you guys learned something new when you're like, oh, dude, talk about this or something like that, please feel free to let me know in the comments below or in my Discord. maybe I'll make a channel for you guys to do that in, and I could talk about it. But we will have a Coach Blakers podcast every single day, so make sure you are ready for that. Tomorrow I also will be streaming at 12 p.m. Central every single day, so make sure you are ready for that as well. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. For those of you that actually were watching it, if you guys want any coaching, coachblaker.com is where you want to go. As I said, I also added that new service where you'll duo queue with me. It is a new service and it is in beta, but I don't know if I'll take it off or not, so we'll see based off the feedback that I get. Pretty much we'll duo and we'll just go over things together. It's basically me holding your hand in the game. I'm telling you where to go, what to do, how to play, asking your thought process, really help you understand why we're going for this play, why we're going for this objective and stuff like that, why we're rotating like this, and really see if that makes a difference versus me just kind of watching the players and coaching them. So if that does go well and you guys do like that, I will keep that on my site. Otherwise, the other options are there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day or rest of your night whenever you are watching this. And thank you for listening and watching the Coach Blakers podcast. Peace, late. Thank you guys for listening and watching.